On the northwest coast of Spain, where the Atlantic carves deep inlets into the land, the small coastal town of Puebla del Caramiñal was, in the early hours of August 22, 2016, still alive with the sounds of a local summer festival. According to official records, a young woman named Diana Quer Lopez Pinel, 18 years old, visiting from Madrid for the summer, had been exchanging messages with her mother and friends via WhatsApp until approximately 2:43 in the morning. After that moment, her trail went cold. She would not be found for 497 days. What investigators would eventually uncover, the evidence, the forensic reports, the confession, the trial, forms one of the most closely followed criminal cases in modern Spanish history. This is what the record shows. According to publicly available records and court documentation, Diana Maria Quer Lopez Pinel was born in Madrid on April 12, 1998. At the time of her disappearance, she was 18 years and 4 months old. She lived in Pozuelo de Alarcón, a municipality in the community of Madrid. Every summer, as was reported extensively during the investigation, she would travel with her mother and her younger sister to the Galician coast, specifically to the town of Puebla del Caramiñal, a small municipality situated along the Ria de Arosa, one of the estuaries that define the rugged coastline of northwestern Spain. It was a routine that, by all accounts, Diana and her family had kept for years. The Ria de Arosa, a long, wide inlet surrounded by fishing villages, pine forests, and Atlantic winds, was, for many Madrid families, a beloved summer retreat far removed from the heat and density of the capital. According to reporting from the period, Diana was described by those who knew her as a vivacious young woman. She was active on social media, and photographs from that summer showed her enjoying the coast, the festivals, and the pace of Galician summer life. On the night of August 21st into the early hours of August 22nd, 2016, Diana attended the local celebrations known as O Carm dos Pincheiros, a traditional festival held annually in Puebla del Caramiñal. This detail was confirmed by investigators and corroborated through digital records retrieved during the subsequent inquiry. The last verified contact Diana had with anyone came through WhatsApp messages exchanged with her mother and with friends. Investigators confirmed that those messages ceased at approximately 2:43 a.m. on August 22, 2016. From that moment forward, no one who knew Diana Quer would see or hear from her again. According to the investigation, the events of the night in question unfolded across a compact geographic area. The festival was held in Puebla del Caramiñal. Diana's family home for the summer was in the same town. The distance between the festival grounds and the family residence was not large. What investigators would spend months attempting to reconstruct was the window of time between the last WhatsApp message, sent at 2:43 a.m., and the moment Diana failed to return home. According to court records, the disappearance was reported to authorities in the early hours and morning following that night. The Guardia Civil, Spain's national gendarmerie force responsible for rural and coastal law enforcement, assumed jurisdiction over the investigation. The initial hours of any missing persons case are, as investigators universally acknowledge, critical. Authorities mobilized search teams across Puebla del Caramiñal and the surrounding municipalities. Volunteers joined the effort. The community was, by all accounts, immediately alarmed. There were, however, no immediate witnesses to report anything definitive. No one came forward in those early hours to describe having seen Diana after 2:43 a.m. There was no physical evidence at the scene of whatever had occurred. There was no body. There was no confirmed location of incident. What investigators did have was Diana's mobile phone signal, a thread of digital data that would become, in the weeks and months that followed, one of the most significant pieces of evidence in the entire case. According to the Guardia Civil's investigation, the signal from Diana's phone was tracked on the night of the events. The signal, authorities reported, was traced to the area surrounding the small locality of Tarragona, and in the neighboring municipality of Riancho, a town roughly located across the estuary from Puebla del Caramiñal. That signal then disappeared. In the days and weeks following Diana Quer's disappearance, the Guardia Civil launched what would become an extensive and prolonged investigation. According to reports from the period, investigators canvassed Puebla del Caramiñal and every municipality along the Ria de Arosa. Search teams, including specialist units, divers, and volunteers, covered coastlines, forests, and rural areas throughout the region. The coverage this case received in the Spanish national media was, by any measure, extraordinary. Television programs dedicated hours of airtime to the search. Newspapers ran daily updates. The image of Diana Quer, her face, her photographs from social media, became familiar to millions of people across Spain. According to investigative records, the Guardia Civil questioned approximately 200 individuals in the broader Ria de Arosa area during the initial phase of the inquiry. The criteria for inclusion on this list of persons of interest, as reported at the time, centered on prior criminal records, specifically those connected to sexual assault or drug trafficking activity in the region. Investigators progressively narrowed that list. According to available records, it was eventually reduced to approximately 80 individuals who remained under scrutiny. None of them, at that stage of the investigation, were formally arrested. The case, despite the scale of the search and the volume of investigative work, was not yielding a breakthrough. The absence of physical evidence, no confirmed scene, no forensic trace, no witness, left investigators working largely from circumstantial indicators. The most concrete of those indicators remained the phone signal data pointing toward Tarragona. According to the Guardia Civil investigation, one of the central pieces of technical evidence in the case was the mobile phone data recovered from Diana Quer's device records. Investigators reported that the signal from Diana's phone had last been detected in the vicinity of Tarragona, a small coastal locality that forms part of the municipality of Riancho. This information placed the critical geographical focus of the investigation not in Puebla del Caramiñal, where the festival had taken place, but across the estuary in the direction of Riancho. Then, on October 28, 2016, 67 days after Diana's disappearance, a shellfish harvester working near the port of Tarragona discovered a mobile phone in the water. According to official reports, the device was retrieved and examined by investigators. It was confirmed to be Diana Quer's iPhone 6. The phone had been in the water for an extended period. Its recovery, however, provided investigators with a physical geographic anchor point. The harbor at Tarragona was now established not merely by phone signal data, but by the physical presence of Diana's personal device. According to investigative records, the combination of the phone signal last detected near Tarragona and the recovery of the iPhone in the waters off the port of Tarragona was treated by investigators as significant. It concentrated their geographic focus on that area and on the municipality of Riancho more broadly. The question that remained unanswered was what had happened and who had been responsible. Despite the scale of the investigation, the months passed without a resolution. According to court records, by April of 2017, approximately 8 months after Diana Quer's disappearance, the case had reached an impasse. The evidence available to investigators had not produced a prosecutable suspect. No arrest had been made. The body had not been found. In April 2017, the Court of First Instance, Juzgado Número 1 de Rivera, issued a ruling of provisional archiving of the case. This procedural step, recognized under Spanish law, did not permanently close the investigation, but it formally acknowledged that the inquiry, at that stage, lacked sufficient evidence to proceed toward prosecution. For the Quer family, and for the many people in Spain who had followed the case, this was a moment of profound frustration. The provisional archiving meant that, officially, the investigation was in suspension. Diana had been missing for over 8 months. Her whereabouts were unknown. The person responsible, whoever they were, had not been identified. The case of Diana Quer entered a period of relative public silence. The media attention, which had been intense in the late summer and autumn of 2016, diminished. The case remained open in a provisional sense, but there was no active prosecution pending and no imminent resolution in sight. That would change, suddenly and dramatically, on the night of December 25, 2017. According to police reports and court records, in the early hours of December 25, 2017, Christmas morning, an incident occurred in the nearby coastal town of Boiro, also situated along the Ria de Arosa. A young woman, 18 years old, reported to authorities that a man had attempted to sexually assault her and abduct her. According to the formal complaint she filed, the man had attempted to force her into the trunk of his vehicle, threatening her with a knife. Witnesses stated that the young woman's screams and her physical resistance drew the attention of neighbors in the area. Several of them came to the scene. The commotion, according to witness accounts, caused the attacker to abandon his effort and flee in his vehicle. The young woman survived the attack and was able to provide a description of her assailant to the Guardia Civil. According to investigators, the description provided by the Boiro victim matched an individual already known to the investigation, a 41-year-old man named José Enrique Abuin Gay, known locally by the nickname El Chicle, a resident of Tarragona in the municipality of Riancho. Abuin Gay had been among the approximately 200 individuals questioned by the Guardia Civil in the early phase of the Diana Quer investigation. He had not been arrested at that time. He remained on the expanded list of persons of interest. According to records consulted by investigators, Abuin Gay had a prior criminal history, and he had served time in prison in 2007 for drug trafficking offenses. Additionally, a complaint for sexual assault had previously been filed against him by the twin sister of his wife. That complaint had subsequently been withdrawn. The Boiro incident placed Abuin Gay under renewed focused scrutiny. The geographical proximity, Tarragona, where he lived, was the same locality where Diana's phone signal had last been detected and where her iPhone had been recovered from the water, was now impossible to ignore. Investigators moved quickly. According to the Guardia Civil's investigative record, following the Boiro incident, authorities returned to a central element of the original investigation: the alibi provided by Abuin Gay's wife. In the initial phase of the Diana Quer inquiry, Rosario Rodriguez, José Enrique Abuin Gay's wife, had been questioned by investigators. According to those earlier statements, she had told authorities that Abuin had been at home with her on the night of August 22nd, 2016, the night of Diana's disappearance. That alibi investigators now returned to scrutinize. According to court records, in the context of the renewed investigation triggered by the Boiro attack, Rosario Rodriguez was questioned again. Faced with the weight of the new circumstances, the Boiro incident, the reassembled evidence, and the mounting investigative pressure, Rosario Rodriguez recanted her earlier statement. She withdrew the alibi she had previously provided for her husband. With that recantation, José Enrique Abuin Gay was, according to investigators, left without any corroborated alibi for the night of Diana Quer's disappearance. On December 29, 2017, Abuin Gay was arrested at the Guardia Civil barracks in Lanzas. He was subsequently transferred to the courts in Ribera. According to official accounts and court documentation, the interrogation of José Enrique Abuin Gay took place on December 30, 2017, the day after his arrest. Investigators reported that, confronted with the absence of an alibi following his wife's recantation, Abuin Gay made admissions during the interrogation. According to the official record, Abuin Gay initially claimed that Diana Quer's death had been the result of an accidental collision, that he had struck her with his vehicle unintentionally. In a subsequent account, however, he provided a different version of events. According to court records, Abuin Gay stated that he had forcibly taken Diana Quer into his vehicle on the night of August 22, 2016. He stated that he had bound her in order to place her inside the car. He further stated that once Diana was inside the vehicle and continued to resist, according to court records, he stated that he strangled her. Abu N'Gaye also provided investigators, according to the official record, with the location where he had concealed Diana Quer's body. On January 1, 2018, the investigating magistrate, Juzgado de Instrucción número 3 de Ribeira, ordered Abu N'Gaye held in provisional detention incomunicado without bail. He was transferred to the prison of Teixeiro in the province of A Coruña. According to the Guardia Civil's operational account, the search for Diana Quer's body was conducted on December 31, 2017, New Year's Eve, based on the information provided by Abu N'Gaye during his interrogation. Investigators, accompanied by Abu N'Gaye, proceeded to an abandoned industrial warehouse in the parish of Asados, within the municipality of Rianjo. According to reports, the facility was located approximately 20 kilometers from the last confirmed location of Diana Quer's phone signal on the night of August 22, 2016. The warehouse, authorities reported, was approximately 200 meters from the Abuin family home. According to the official account, at approximately 6 o'clock in the morning of December 31, 2017, inside the abandoned warehouse, investigators located a concrete well embedded in the floor. The well contained water. Inside the well, according to the official findings, Diana Quer's body was found. Authorities reported that the body had been bound at the shoulders and hips with bricks and submerged in the water. The well had been covered with a metal plate. Diana Quer had been missing for 497 days. Following the discovery of the body, Abu N'Gaye was transferred from Teixeiro prison to the prison of Alama in Pontevedra province, reportedly at the request of the prison's treatment board on grounds of the internal security of the inmate, owing to threats from other prisoners connected to prior drug trafficking cases in which Abu N had been involved. That transfer took place on January 10th. Subsequently, a second transfer was requested on the same grounds to a penitentiary facility outside of Galicia. The forensic investigation in the case of Diana Quer was conducted under the direction of the Instituto de Medicina Legal de Galicia, the official medico-legal institution of the Galician regional government. According to the autopsy report, the examination was led by forensic pathologist Alberto Fernandez and lasted approximately 5 hours. The preliminary findings concluded that Diana Quer died as a result of strangulation. Investigators reported that the forensic examination identified a fracture of the hyoid bone, a finding that, according to forensic medical science, is consistent with death by strangulation. According to forensic reports, a cable tie was recovered from the well where the body was found. Initial examination could not immediately determine whether that cable tie had been the instrument of strangulation or whether manual strangulation had been employed. However, according to the final forensic conclusions, that examination of the deterioration patterns on the neck and wrist areas of the body indicated that those regions had been subjected to greater physical pressure than other parts. Forensic experts concluded that this pattern was consistent with restraint by a cable tie. This finding, according to investigators, contradicted Abu N'Gaye's initial claim that Diana's death had been the result of an accidental vehicle collision. Forensic reports explicitly excluded accidental strangulation and concluded that the strangulation had been deliberate and carried out using a ligature. Tissue and fluid samples recovered from the body were sent to the Instituto Nacional de Toxicología y Ciencias Forenses, Spain's National Institute of Toxicology and Forensic Sciences. According to investigators, the results of that analysis did not produce significant new information owing to the advanced deterioration of the body after 497 days of submersion. A subsequent forensic review conducted in July 2018 produced additional findings. According to testimony presented at trial by Dr. Jose Blanco Pampin, who participated in the forensic review, examination identified significant edema in the genital area of the victim. According to the doctor's testimony, this finding was compatible with a violent sexual act. According to the forensic conclusions presented at trial, this review was considered compatible with a possible sexual motive and confirmed that the victim had been in a condition that would have prevented her from defending herself. Regarding the forensic assessment of Abuin Gay himself, according to the Instituto de Medicina Legal de Galicia's imputability report, the accused was fully legally responsible for his actions. The report stated that he possessed full cognitive and volitional capacity and presented no psychological disorder that would have impaired his ability to understand the consequences of his conduct. 2 psychological interviews were conducted with Abuin Gay in 2018. According to the findings of those assessments, the accused scored low on measures of empathy, displayed no emotional distress, and showed no signs of remorse at any point during the evaluations. The psychological profile described him as a person of limited affective expression, incapable of taking the perspective of others, while also noting that he was capable of controlling his anger and could display resentment over time. According to court records, the formal procedural steps leading to trial began on April 1, 2019, when a preliminary hearing was convened to set a date for the main proceedings. Prior to the principal trial, and between April 10th and 12th of 2019, Abuin Gay was tried separately for the attempted kidnapping in Boiro, the incident that had, according to investigators, triggered the reopening of the Diana Quer case. The main trial for the murder of Diana Quer followed. According to the official judicial proceedings, the case was heard before a jury, Spain's Tribunal del Jurado system, in which a panel of citizen jurors deliberates on questions of guilt. According to court records, the jury returned a verdict finding José Enrique Abuin Gay guilty of murder. The jury also returned a verdict of not guilty on the charge of rape. The final sentencing determination, under Spain's jury trial system, fell to the presiding judge, the Magistrado Presidente of the Tribunal del Jurado, sitting within the 6th section of the Audiencia Provincial de La Coruña, the provincial appellate court of A Coruña. On December 17, 2019, the judge issued his ruling. According to the sentence, José Enrique Abuin Gay was condemned to prisión permanente revisable, Spain's most severe custodial sentence, equivalent to an indefinite prison term subject to periodic judicial review, for the offenses of unlawful detention and sexual assault in connection with the death of Diana Quer. The case of Diana Quer generated one of the most significant episodes of sustained media coverage in Spain in recent memory. That coverage, and the manner in which it was conducted, became a subject of considerable public debate, both during the investigation and in its aftermath. According to contemporaneous reporting and analysis from media critics, some observers drew comparisons between the coverage of the Diana Quer case and prior high-profile Spanish criminal cases, including the so-called Crimen de Alcácer, a case from the early 1990s that had also involved the disappearance and murder of young women and had been the subject of intense and controversial media treatment. Critics of the coverage, as reported in Spanish media, argued that journalistic interest in the Diana Quer case at times extended into areas that ultimately proved unrelated to her death. Specifically, commentators noted that reporting had devoted significant attention to the personal circumstances of Diana's parents, including their separation, to the behavior of her younger sister, and to Diana's own social conduct and interactions with young men. From a feminist analytical perspective, critics argued that elements of the coverage reflected a broader tendency to attempt to link the victim's fate to factors such as her clothing, her family situation, or her behavior with others, framings that, those critics argued, carried implicit assumptions about female responsibility for violence committed against women. According to reports at the time, the resolution of the case also brought public attention to the investigative work of the Guardia Civil's Central Operative Unit, the Unidad Central Operativa, or UCO, under the command of Colonel Manuel Sanchez Corby, who served as the official spokesperson to the media regarding the operational details of the case. According to every official record in this case, the investigative files, the forensic reports, the trial transcripts, The judicial sentence: the following is what the evidence established. Diana Maria Quer Lopez Pinel was 18 years old when she attended a local summer festival in Puebla del Caramiñal on the coast of Galicia in the early hours of August 22, 2016. She exchanged messages with her mother at 2:43 a.m. She was not seen again by anyone who knew her. For 497 days, her location was unknown. On December 31, 2017, her body was found inside an abandoned warehouse in the parish of Asados, in the municipality of Rianjo, submerged in a concrete well approximately 200 meters from the home of the man who, according to his own confession and the subsequent trial, and was responsible for her death. On December 17, 2019, a court in A Coruña sentenced José Enrique Abuin Gay to life imprisonment with review. The facts of the case, verified by forensic science, established by judicial process, confirmed by confession, are part of the permanent record. Diana Quer was 18 years old.